Hello and welcome. We are broadcasting live from GlobalNutriPreneurs, the premier global gateway and unified operating system transforming the future of the global agri-food economy. Today, the global food system stands at a critical crossroads. While the demand for functional health, wellness, and nutritional security is expanding exponentially, early-stage innovators face massive roadblocks, fragmented supply chains, opaque cross-border regulations, and a staggering volume of unvetted noise that isolates brilliant founders from institutional capital. The cost of this friction isn't just measured in lost revenue, it is measured in the unacceptably high rate of global food waste and systematic nutritional insecurity. Promoted by the Global Council for Agri-Food Trade and Innovation and the Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade, Global Nutripreneurs was engineered to dismantle these barriers. We are moving decisively past passive business directories. Powered by a robust digital operating system featuring AI-driven founder mentor matching, automated regulatory compliance hubs, and integrated virtual deal room, we are systematically transforming high potential ventures into scalable investment grade business. Our ecosystem operates across 6 integrated strategic pillars, uniting a dedicated global R&D network, shared physical infrastructure via decentralized common facility centers, and an ESG compliant trade and investment marketplace. Right now, our team is executing a massive global pipeline evaluation, reviewing over 10,000 agriculture, food, and nutrition business across more than 150 countries. Our mission is clear to uncover the elite innovators shaping the next era of wellness, unlock friction free global market access, and actively drive a 40% reduction in global post harvest food losses. Today, as part of our Global Agri-Food Nutrition Research and Development Forum series, we are mapping out the blueprints for this agriculture revolution. Joining us is a leader who sits at the very frontier of his transformation. Please welcome to the global stage our guest for today, Dr. Ikechi Agbugba, is a globally recognized food and agriculture economist, author, and a development expert dedicated to bridging the global north and south through multi-sector international partnerships that drive global food security, youth empowerment, and agri-tech innovation. He is an associate professor at Rivers State University, an honorary associate professor at the University of Birmingham, and a postdoctoral researcher at New York St. John University under a URKI grant. Dr. Agbugba is the pioneer of the US Library of Congress copyrighted Brain Reengineering Initiative and serves as a double United Nations consultant under the International Organization for Migration, leveraging disposer expertise for cross-border knowledge transfer. A prolific researcher and educator with over 100 publications, his extensive leadership portfolio includes co-founding the African Organization Technology in Agriculture, serving as Professor Extraordinaire at UNISA, the advising global bodies like European Technology Chamber and the USAID Feed the Future initiative. His transformative work in agribusiness, smallholder empowerment, and circular economy strategies has earned him prestigious international accolades, including Global Mentor of Change and Global Emerging Leader Awards by the CGPIT. Thank you for joining us today to help shape the future of global nutripreneurs. I now request you to kindly proceed with your presentation. Over to you. Great. So, through your extensive work as a double United Nations consultant under the International Organization for Migration and the C44D project, you have mastered the art of leveraging disposer expertise to upgrade localized agriculture frameworks. As Global Nutripreneurs builds out its digital operating system across hubs like Bangalore, London, and the USA, how can we structurally tap into global disposer networks to provide early-stage agri-food startups with both the cross-border market intelligence and the institutional capital they need to scale?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. Can I say that drawing from my extensive background, as an agroeconomist, and just like you have mentioned, there is need for what I call channeling cross-border market intelligence, and this has to do with diaspora communities, acting as natural market bridges. Understanding the regional consumer tastes and the strict, sometimes Western and Asian compliance standards. Yeah, so we must factor that in, and I have already advised from this the brain reengineering idea also, which are through the digital layers on the diaspora brain trust networks, which entails establishing formal advisory circles. And this, when mapped, can help to, in specific areas, like even in the UK, retail, in the US, FDA compliance, even in the Indian agricultural technology integration. So these brain trusts will go a long way to provide early stage founders with localized regulatory blueprints and consumer data. And also about under this same channel in cross-border market intelligence, what about bidirectional knowledge transfer pipelines, which going back to my UN consultancy on the at the food crop production technology transfer station at Tubiaja. The model I developed talked about formalizing data exchange, and of course, startups in developing hubs can gain real-time visibility into international supply demands, while Western hubs track regional production bottlenecks to solve. And also, we have the digital mentorship and co-development, which is using the digital operating system to match global tech heavy diaspora members that specialize on AI and IoTs and the blockchain. Of course, AI is artificial intelligence and IoT is Internet of Things with local agri-food entrepreneurs to modernize physical supply chains. And after the channeling cross-border market intelligence, which I've just mentioned, is the mobilization of institutional capital. Very important. And diaspora wealth, I can say that it extends far beyond the traditional remittances. Of course, that also presents a massive pool of sophisticated investment capital. And yeah, so and I have a diagram which I developed on diaspora syndicate investment pools and what I call diaspora micro angels. And there's an arrow that goes to equity crowdfunding portal and early pre-seed runway, which is like takes us to the high net worth family office. And of course, that also takes us to syndicate investment pools and C to Series A. And of course, that is a global direct foreign investment and the agri-food funds, and then co-investment and match funds. And that takes us to the institutional scale. And yeah, so there's an implementation matrix, which I have here structured. I can share it. I can actually pop it up and then you can see how the implementation matrix works. And this implementation matrix permit me to share this material, this diagram, because it clearly tells us how this metric um, can work to a large extent. Yeah. So if you look at this um, material, you begin to see how what I just talked about on how this the implementation matrix. This is a structural pillar, and we have the OS module feature. This is my strategic focus. And then the expected scale metric. So in market intelligence, we see the OS module. It's about the regulatory and trade compliance vault. While the yeah, so my strategic focus is on direct alignment with International Trade Council standards. And then, of course, the expected scale 40% reduction in time to export certification. And then for technology integration, which is agricultural technology and smart farming matchmaking. And I was, encouraging and proposing and also advocating for infusing of AI, blockchain, and precision agriculture into traditional supply lines. Then, of course, for the expected scaling is 30% lift in startup operational efficiency. Finally, for the capital mobilization, we can see diaspora investor syndicate dashboard. This is where I was proposing for a converting fragmented personal remittances into structured, productive venture equity. Yeah, so this is and then of course the expected scale metric talks about 5 million plus of institutional capital unlocked hub. And yeah, so this is just a bit of how I intend to um, you know advice on um, structurally tapping into the global diaspora network, uh, you know, which will definitely provide early stage agri-food startups with both cross-border market intelligence and the institutional capital they need to scale. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that perspective. That's a very valuable insight. Building on that, I'd like to move to my next question. You're the pioneer of the Brain Reengineering Initiative, which targets the mindset of the young generation to drive sustainable development. In many emerging markets, younger populations still view agriculture through the lens of the traditional substance rather than high tech entrepreneurship. What is your blueprint for re-engineering this mindset so that the youth view agri-food as an investment-grade, tech-forward career path? And how can global entrepreneurs embed this philosophy into enterprise, AI, and agri-fellowships?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, the Brain Reengineering Initiative, I started by conceptualizing it, and it's a fundamental systemic approach for actualizing the SDGs. And of course, since I started with the agri-food space, which talks about dismantling the obsolete stigma of farming as a poverty trap, and also rebranding it as a lucrative technology-driven and investment-grade career path. This is just how, this is just the end, like a summary in a nutshell. And this also, it can be tailored for the fourth industrial revolution. And of course, this leverages modern tech to replace, breaking manual labor. We know about the crude implements thing, those smallholder farmers are grappling with poverty developmental issues in their farms. And of course, when they begin to uh, replace this manual labor um, type of system with high efficiency, high margin asset management. And yeah, for global nutripreneurs, I can talk about them embedding this blueprint into their enterprise AI, and also agri fellowships, agri food fellowships, which will require a structural shift that will merge hard scientific innovation with aggressive venture-backed entrepreneurship. So redefining agri-food through the brain reengineering initiative, you know, resonates around change of perception, ideation and entrepreneurship, technology integration, sustainability and circular economy, and of course, social equity in public policy, because this also surrounds policy. We are backed up by policy. So regarding technology over toiling, that is, technology has come in to bridge the gap, to help farmers who have been grappling, toiling in the farm, toiling, and also the suffering, with the drudgery type of system. So, but that tells us about replacing the intensive physical labor with automated systems, the robotics and sensors. Farming matches and the allure of Silicon Valley tech tracks. So this is yeah, for the technology overture. Now for investment grade asset classes, highlighting high yield agricultural tech, startups, carbon credit monetization, and supply chain logistics will definitely reposition food security as a recession proof top tier. I call it top tier investment sector. Yes, because there is a lot that is already happening, which we can always leverage on. And then talking about the fourth industrial revolution capability, which tells us about shifting the narrative so that early career academics or early career researchers they will begin to view data streams, genetics, and smart resource allocation as the primary inputs rather than manual tools. So I can also show you a diagram which clearly talks about this. Let me try to show you that diagram, though it's not very finely presented, but I think you can catch the gist. So this gist talks, can you see the brain re-engineering? Yeah, so RECR actually means brain re-engineering concept and reimagination. Their core pillars are five. Five pillars, I can show you that later. You can also find it online. So it starts from perception change, ideation and entrepreneurship, um, then technology integration, and of course sustainability and circular economy, and then social equity in public policy. So for the GlobalPreneurs Fellowship, the pillars can actually, that arrow goes to the enterprise AI and agri track. And then, of course, that arrow goes down to what? The AI-driven farm ops, and then the value chain ready agribusinesses. Yeah. So, and then going back again to yeah, how can we, how can let me call it my philosophy now. Though this is a business idea, this is a policy initiative, and this is also like I'm structuring an institute that will definitely foster the usage of brain reengineering initiative as a strategy for actualizing the United Nations goals, development goals agenda. So now for global nutripreneurs, they should resign fellowship tracks to target these components explicitly, implementing AI-driven production frameworks. That is predictive yield modeling, autonomous supply logistics. Then also introducing capital raising and agribusiness ideation, which of course I had enforced. I had put a lot of ideas. I had presented. I had suggested ideas, which around the entrepreneurship pillar for fitting every technical solution as a scalable commercial product. So we can pitch tech readiness. We can also franchise and also agripreneur the models, and also this, talking about establishing a multidisciplinary ecosystem alliances. We can see how that there is need to bridge the gap between early academics, experts, technology experts. When I talk about early career academics, I'm also talking about researchers, the education sector, and then of course the corporate investment structures to mirror this advocacy for cross-sector collaboration. Yeah, because there is a need for this. These are all stakeholder groups. And then what about the co-developer pods and corporate venture matching? So these are all areas that we can talk about, connecting fellowship teams with multinational agricultural firms and impact fund early in their ideation phases to capture venture capital interest. And then, of course, group enterprise software engineers also can directly with food scientists and to prevent isolated tech development and ensure high product market fit. Thank you.
That's a very interesting way to look at it. So, moving on to our next question. Global Nutripreneurs has set an aggressive target to drive a 40% reduction in global post harvest food losses, supported by a shared physical processing infrastructure via decentralized common facility centers. Given your influential role as a consultant with the Nigerian Stored Products Research Institute and co founder of the African Organization of Technology in Agriculture, what specific industry 4.0 storage and processing technologies should we prioritize at these decentralized hubs to maximize smallholder margins and eliminate supply chain waste?
Yeah, thank you very much. May I first of all appreciate Professor Yusuf Sani. Sorry, Latif Sani is the Director General, the Executive Director of Nigerian Stored Product Research Institute, which is the parastatal under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in Nigeria, and also a young, gentle, vibrant man in Rwanda. His name is Isaac Kagara. He's the co-founder and president of Africa Organization of Technology in Agriculture, and they have been working closely with them. So to achieve the Global Nutripreneurs Initiative aggressive target of a 40% reduction in global post-harvest food losses. And I talk about smart storage and preservation technologies. Yes. At the NISPRI, which I consult with, there is always this IoT-enabled micro cold rooms, which can also be a way of proposing for prioritizing the decentralized hubs to maximize the smallholder margins and eliminate supply chain waste. What about the hermetic and smart silos? First of all, when we talk about the IoT-enabled micro cold rooms, there is need to deploy modular solar-powered cold storage units at decentralized hubs, and this will definitely equip, will be further equipped with IoT sensors allowing real-time tracking of temperature, relative humidity, and gas emissions, like the effiling to optimize shelf life of perishables. We talk about hermetic and smart silos for grains and dry commodities, which will definitely integrating NISPRI approved hermetic storage structures. In NISPRI is actually um, um, a program that utilizes indigenous technology systems to drive, because they fabricate these materials. For instance, there is no need to begin to import some of those silos, the smart silos, to import all those storage facilities to preserve them, cold rooms. We actually fabricate this. So NISPRI has been working a lot. So Professor Sani has done a lot in that regard. So this, goes ahead to dictate early biological activity or moisture changes, allowing the common facility centers, like you mentioned, to um, um, to manage them for further preservation, prevention of spoilage, without chemical overtreatment, because chemicals are very challenging, and these days we are always going towards organically um, produced um, chemicals or organically produced substances, which will definitely help that. So, what about intelligent physical processing, which touches on the computer vision and AI sorting, and also energy efficient and IoT monitored dehydration. So that is also part. And then for the supply chain integration um, and transparency, I will propose the blockchain-backed agribusiness aggregation that is implementing a localized ledger system to track smallholder batches from drop-off at the CFC through processing and also final sale. So this will build buyer trust a lot and open up formal business-to-business market linkages and drastically minimize processing delays that lead to waste. And then finally, we can talk about predicting and analytics. Yeah, predictive analytics for demand matching, trying to bridge the gap between the increasing demand of consumers, of users, to what is already on ground. So we can use cloud-based big data tools to aggregate volume data across regional CFCs. This correlates local harvest metrics with urban market demand signals. And of course, this will, to the largest extent, protect smallholders from wastage, that is gluts, because gluts is always a challenge during productive seasons, and then ensure efficient offtake. Thank you.
Thank you for highlighting that. So that leads us nicely to the next topic. The next question I have for you is, you have navigated a massive array of prestigious global grant systems, including EU Horizon funding, UKRI, USAID, and the World Bank to strengthen international trade linkages and public private partnerships. For early stage agri food ventures that are often caught between too commercial for traditional aid and too risky for pure venture capital, how should global entrepreneurs structure its integrated virtual deal room to blend grant capital with commercial investment smoothly?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, can I say that to bridge the missing middle financing gap for early stage agri-food ventures, GlobalNutriPreneurs, they must structure its integrated virtual deal room, that is the VDR, to treat grant capital not as a separate charity track, but as a strategic risk mitigation tool that directly risks, that directs, so it directly directs commercial investment. So drawing from the international frameworks that I have partnered with, we just concluded the UKRI grant funding on ethically minority groups, the refugees and the asylum seekers, the environmental science program. So the UKRI funds us, and also have participated in the USAID, participated in World Bank, and participated in a Norfolk, as well as the Water Research Commission in South Africa, and also even the National Research Foundation, the NRF in South Africa. So I can tell you that there are areas we can look at. Now, the blended capital stack and a co-investment architecture is important. Instead of separating users into distinct silos, structure the center, the center folder or the central folder to visibly display how grant capital acts as a catalytic cushion for commercial investors. Yeah, so and how can we achieve that? First of all, first loss capital vault is important. And this houses grant agreements and concessional loan terms that absorb early losses, elevating the credit rating of the venture for venture capital view. And then, of course, the milestone tranche matrix and the match funding calculator. And then the dual track due diligence, which is like impact plus returns. Now, this is a marriage between impact and returns. It's very important. Now, traditional commercial investors, they ignore impact data, while aid organizations ignore financial projections. So the virtual display room must unify these data streams. Commercial viability data contains standard financial models, unit economics, market size, and also regulatory pathways, developmental impact verification also, which houses frameworks aligned with USAID's monitoring methodologies and World Bank indicators. Example in smallholder farmer yield improvement, carbon sequestration, and gender equity metrics. So this can also work. And then for the EU Horizon Europe evaluations, we can talk about the technical readiness assessment, which showcases independent validation studies of the agri-tech solutions. So we've seen this a lot. So the next are the integrated legal and compliance sandbox, the risk mitigation and guarantee instruments, and then of course the multi-tiered investor mission. So these are areas that we can actually I'm proposing to GlobalNutriPreneurs to structure their integrated virtual deal room to blend grant capital with commercial investment smoothly. Thank you.
Those are some excellent points. So let's explore another important aspect. You have served as a technical advisor to initiatives like NutriCare Malawi, which focuses on empowering women to increase the availability of affordable nutritious food. As we launch our Women in Food, Agriculture and Nutrition Forum, how can we ensure that commercial scaling of global food value chains doesn't leave grassroots, women-led enterprise behind, but instead structurally integrates them into high-value procurement cycles?
Thank you very much. Let me also give kudos to my mentee, my former PhD student, Dr. Ken Gunsalu. He is the founder of NutriCare Malawi. So we've been working together before we started to I started to supervise his PhD work. So of course, the brain engineering initiative gives the way to say that in my collaboration, in our initiative at the NutriCare Malawi. Malawi is in South African, South African country, is in the SADC region, and yeah, so and they encourage empowering women agripreneurs, which requires a lot of bridging critical resource gaps and also ensuring structured market linkages. So the primary framework I would suggest for integrating this grassroots enterprise into high-value procurement cycles consists of the following pillars: mindset transformation, and that is the brain reengineering initiative, which talks about shifting to agribusiness. How do we do this? Overcoming deep-seated cultural and structural barriers by helping women view grassroots farming not just as subsistence, but as a scalable, high-yield commercial enterprise, not just women, every other one, even the young people. Now, what about the nutritional advocacy, which talks about training female producers to align their output with global demands for affordable, high nutritious, and climate resilient foods. And coming to talk about creating structure for procurement and for market decoupling. Decentralized procurement hubs can be established. And this can be regional collection points that purchase directly from women-led cooperatives, bypassing predatory middlemen to capture fairer margins. Remember that agriculture in most times, not just in Africa, in those global south communities, even in India, is mostly practiced by women, especially horticulture. And we have seen them that the women, when they commit a lot of resources to their hands, they actually come out with very reasonable outcomes. Long-term offtake contracts talks about providing of predictable demand and stable pricing mechanisms to shield smallholder women from global food price volatility. And then, of course, what about the value addition integration? It talks about incentivizing primary processing, packaging, and circular economy principles at the community level to keep financial value within the local economy. And this is what is what I've been advocating for, especially when we are talking about cooperatives and bringing in value chain, empowering of value chain. So, we have a crop like cassava right now. Cassava is a root crop, but cassava has diverse value chains. Why? Because of the products. The product that comes from a crop or the derivative from a particular crop. I'm just using that as an example. I'm just painting a picture. Now, the product suggests the complexity or the diversity of the value chain. Now, talking about technical capacity and smart infrastructure, we can look at targeted agri-tech access. We can also talk about tailored training modules. We can talk about also blended financial linkages. Now, these three are very topical when we talk about technical capacity and smart infrastructure. Now, launching of the Women in Food and Agriculture and Nutrition Forum by the Global Nutripreneurs. Can I say that target agri-tech access touches on equitizing data? Let me use that language, please. By arming women with modern market intelligence, production sensors, and precision farming tools, we can arm them a lot. And I'm happy with what is going on right now. There is increasing awareness, increasing interest, increasing engagement and involvement of women in these spaces. And we have also tailored training modules. We talked about deploying localized structured training programs centered on food safety compliance, quality control, and regional supply chain logistics. And then, of course, for the blended financial linkages blended in such a way that we can connect grassroots networks directly with targeted agricultural grants, microfinance, and collaborative risk sharing facilities. Thank you.
I think that gives our audience a lot to reflect on. As we come to the end of the session, is there something that you would like to add?
Yes, I just wanted to thank you for having me and also say that the brain reengineering initiative has come to be. It's really, really, systemic and a formidable approach to actualizing the Sustainable Development Goals agenda of the United Nations. Thank you.
What an incredible masterclass of a conversation. Thank you for sharing your blueprints with us today. Your profound insights reinforce exactly why global entrepreneurs exist to bridge the critical gap between commercial profitability and sustainable social impact. To everyone tuning in across a global network, whether you're an innovator, an investor, or a policymaker, the path to plugging into this unified agri-food operating system is clear. For agri-food entrepreneurs and founders, stop struggling in isolation. Fast track your venture through our customized scaling pathways, leverage our AI-driven mentor matching, and utilize our automated regulatory compliance hubs to make your business cross-border ready. For accredited investors, eliminate the noise of unvetted pipelines. Access our pre-evaluated investment-grade Nutri businesses directly through our integrated virtual deal room and secure your stake at the next era of health and wellness. For industrial and academic partners, collaborate with us. Let's unlock deep tech innovation through our Global Agri-Food Nutrition Research and Development Forum and actively build a more equitable ecosystem by championing leadership at our Women in Food, Agriculture, and Nutrition Forum. Together, we can maximize our global networks and deploy decentralized common facility centers to actively drive the 40% reduction in global post-harvest food losses. The future of the global agri-food economy is no longer about survival. It is about sustainable nutrition, scientific excellence, and friction-free global trade. Visit globalnutripreneurs.com to secure your application, verify your venture, and claim your place in the future of the food innovation. Thank you for joining us on Global Nutripreneurs. Until next time, keep innovating, keep scaling, and build with impact.